As we begin the last half of the final season of Picard, questions are answered at the same time more are created. So continue to join us every week as we explore each episode and reveal all the details you may have missed. And please stay tuned to the end to get a special inside look at this episode directly from the mouth of showrunner Terry Matalas himself. So you don't want to miss this episode.
Breakups on my homeworld seldom end without bloodshed.
And stay tuned until later, where we'll be showing you a futuristic wallet Starfleet would be proud of, even though they don't need money.
Once you have their money, you never give it back.
Exactly.
Last week's episode ended with the Titan narrowly avoiding capture by the Intrepid thanks to the sacrifice of Ro Laren. Changelings have infiltrated Starfleet at the highest levels. Jack has something very wrong with him, and it is confirmed Worf and Raffi have been investigating this undercover all along. Picard Season 3 has realized a revitalized Jean-Luc with powerful performances by all principal cast members with heartfelt story arcs that feel true to the characters we knew before, as well as the spirit of Star Trek as a whole. Some of the things we hope to learn from this episode include what happened at Daystrom, how did the Changelings find a way to infiltrate Starfleet, and what turned Jack into Jason Bourne. We begin with 3 Starfleet ships zeroing in on a Titan decoy transponder. Vadic is frustrated that she can't find them. The Titan has been shedding these decoys and then jumping to warp at intermediate intervals to stay one step ahead of the Changelings hunting them. Vadic gives a speech about being exhausted wearing the faces of the Federation. She says there will be a day of lifeless bodies burning in space that bring unity and peace.
At first, we will have vengeance.
When one of her underlings mentions that Frontier Day is only 3 days away and they still don't have Picard's son, she has him murdered. Vadic wants the names of every friend or loved one Picard knows and might turn to. Back on the Titan, Beverly and Jean-Luc are talking about Jack and looking at a scan of his brain. He finally confided with his mother what he was experiencing, and it appears the young man has Irumodic syndrome, inherited by his father. In the TNG finale episode, All Good Things, Picard had developed advanced Irumodic syndrome. His condition caused many of his friends to doubt his claims that he had been shifting back and forth in time. In 2399, Dr. Benawan informed Jean-Luc during the events of Picard Season 1 that his brain defect was fatal regardless of treatment. And as Jean-Luc looks at Jack's brain scan, the mirrored words terminal diagnosis shows up. So just as everyone thought Picard was hallucinating during All Good Things, Beverly believes Jack is also hallucinating what he is experiencing.
Visions, waking nightmares, erratic bursts of aggression.
It also appears Jack has been having these experiences since he was a child. Back on the holodeck, Jack isn't handling the news of his newfound affliction well. He points out the irony that his
mother thought to protect me from you. Collateral damage in the life of Jean-Luc Picard. Maybe I was doomed before I was even born.
And then we get visitors to the Titan. Worf and Raffi transport in, and we get our favorite Klingon back in the room with his TNG friends for the first time in
11 years, 5 months, 4 days.
Apparently, Worf has been keeping count. The inside joke of Chateau Picard continues as Worf tells Jean-Luc,
"It is quite tart, sir."
Beverly gives Worf a heartfelt hug that he hates. That's our Worf. And very much to our delight, Raffi refers to Picard as Jean-Luc and not JL.
Sheer f***ing hubris.
Which we always thought was a bit too personal for anyone's relationship with Picard. Everyone gets caught up with Worf's meditating, and we get an awkward moment between Raffi and Seven, who are no longer in a relationship and are doing their best to be professional.
You all right? Well,
the production team and actors handle that underlying tension very well, as we don't dwell on it, but we get on with the adventure at hand. Worf acknowledges that Beverly and Picard have a son, and he is insistent that they do not let Ro Laren's death be in vain. In the Ready Room, Worf breaks down a history of the Dominion War and the retaliation by Starfleet with a virus, which Jean-Luc points out also supplied a cure directly to the Changeling Great Link homeworld. Through this, Shaw points out a few changeling zealots were created. Raffi explains that whatever these rogue changelings have planned, it's going to happen on Frontier Day in less than 48 hours.
It's somehow tied to Starfleet's Frontier Day.
It is here that we learn we need to go to Daystrom Station and investigate what the changelings did there.
Any volunteers?
Daystrom Station is named after Richard Daystrom, one of the most influential scientists of the 23rd century. We first meet him in the TOS episode The Ultimate Computer, where he came aboard aboard the USS Enterprise to test a revolutionary tactical computer that he loses control of and ends up putting nearly 2,000 people in danger. Daystrom was considered a boy wonder, and he would go on to have a big impact on the Star Trek universe. The Daystrom Institute, one of the most prominent Federation research centers, would end up named after him, as we learn in the TNG episode The Measure of a Man. The Daystrom Station we see here in Picard Season 3 is a black site of the Daystrom Institute and houses some interesting Federation secrets. The next scenes feel like a Heist setup movie, as we learn the crew will need to break into the station and burgle a manifest list of everything on board the station to figure out what the changelings stole and what they plan to do with it on Frontier Day. The plan is dangerous and potentially lethal, but they are out of other options. The Titan arrives at Daystrom Station as Worf, Raffi, and Riker plan to leave on an away mission. The breakup of Seven and Raffi is hilariously handled by Worf, who suggests Seven come along and then is relieved because it would have just ended up in bloodshed.
That is a relief. I was practicing deceit.
The team has an hour to find the onboard manifest. Riker makes a joke that they might need some old-fashioned Klingon violence, to which we get the controversial line from the preview clip,
You should know that I now prefer pacifism to actual combat.
Or I'm gonna die.
We all understand now that this was just a joke, since Worf has already killed and maimed multiple people in the first half of the series. On Daystrom Station, Worf uses the key provided by Kryn, and it seems to work. Starfleet vessels begin showing up anyways, despite the Titan using its usual tactics to escape detection. Sydney LaForge has a great moment where she points out that those vessels have the ability to track the Titan if they hit the ship with a weapon. The Titan has to leave the away team to protect them. Now on their own, the team explores the station looking for the internal logs. We learn that this is where Section 31 is hiding some of its secrets. Of course, Section 31 is an arm of Starfleet which allows for extraordinary measures to be taken in times of extreme threat.
Our official designation is Section 31.
It frequently operates on its own without Starfleet's knowledge of consent. Here we see Riker looking at a Genesis 2 device behind glass. Of course, we remember the Genesis device from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, which was designed to turn uninhabited planets into M-class planets ready for colonization. The original Genesis device was detonated by Khan aboard the USS Reliant inside of the Mutara Nebula, and a new planet was born. It should surprise none of us that Section 31 is hiding a second Genesis device here on Daystrom Station. It was also interesting to learn that the station has been harboring the body of Captain James T. Kirk, who died sadly under a bridge rather than on one. Raffi pauses for a moment as we see the digital skeleton of Star Trek's most famous captain. We then see Worf pause in front of a genetically modified Tribble who isn't so soft and cuddly looking. Of course, Tribbles are one of the most popular aliens, as well as a toy favorite that goes all the way back to the original series.
Now he tells me.
When a holographic crow pops up out of nowhere, security on board the station is monitoring them. And then we suddenly see Professor James Moriarty, who says,
I think, therefore I am.
Moriarty is a famous TNG villain who was a hologram that became aware he was a hologram and attempted to escape the Enterprise. Moriarty tells them,
Greetings, old friends.
Back on the Titan, they have arrived at Athen Prime, the Fleet Museum. Here we see many of the great ships in Star Trek's history. This is truly one of the most amazing shots of the whole show. But before we show you these amazing ships, let me quickly tell you about this video sponsor, Exter, who makes what we believe is the best wallet ever created. We just threw away our old wallets. Want to know why? Because we just discovered the most efficient smart wallet in the world. Exter has revolutionized the wallet, and we will never go back to bifold. We are so impressed. Exter wallets are super slim and sleek. They are half the size of a conventional bifold wallet. Compact and modular, they hold 12 cards or more plus cash. And that means no more stuffing that bulky, worn-out bifold wallet into your back pocket. Forget sitting on that uncomfortable lump and slide Exter into your front pocket instead. This high-quality wallet combines Italian leather, space-grade aluminum, and carbon fiber. Plus, it includes built-in RFID blocking to protect you from wireless theft. And you know how hard it can be to replace all of your cards if your wallet is stolen. Exter includes a tracking card to help you keep an eye on your belongings with a map, and you can even ring it for location assistance. This is the last wallet you'll ever buy. To get an Exter wallet like ours, visit shop.exter.com/thepopcast. Get 25% off your order when you use code THEPOPCAST at checkout. Join the wallet revolution and upgrade your quality of life with Exter today.
Off.
I'm just trying it out.
As we circle the Fleet Museum in a beautiful shot that pans out from the Titan, we see the original TOS Enterprise NCC 1701. USS Voyager, USS Defiant, the HMS Bounty, which spent some time on Earth in 1984. We also see the NX-01 from Star Trek Enterprise, a Romulan bird of prey, a Klingon battlecruiser, and more. They move into park and are hailed by Commodore Geordi LaForge, who seems angry with his old captain.
Listen to me very carefully, Jean-Luc.
We do see a warm glimpse of our old engineer as he gives Beverly a hug, but he speaks curtly to his daughter Sydney, and you know there is something going on there. Geordi tells them they don't have much time. He's been writing Starfleet telling them it is a bad idea to bring the whole fleet together for Frontier Day. He is also concerned someone is going to fly by and see the Titan and realize it doesn't belong. We get our first look at the LaForge sisters together. The daughter standing with Geordi is LeVar Burton's actual daughter, Mika, and she seems to be the one not in trouble with Dad Geordi. We get our first conversation between Jack and Sydney, who realize they both have something in common with difficult fathers.
Well, that was warm and cuddly, wasn't it?
Picard wants Geordi to clone the Titan's transponder signal to lure them away from Daystrom Station so they can go back and get their away team. Geordi says he can't do that. Apparently, all of the Federation ships are now linked together and talk to each other, which makes the Titan a beacon that when close enough will notify other Starfleet ships.
Every ship in this fleet is now fully integrated, which means they talk to each other.
Back on Daystrom Station, Moriarty begins firing at Riker, Worf, and Raffi. They retreat as musical notes blare loudly. Riker says this is not the same self-aware Moriarty from the Enterprise. He thinks he might be a projection. Moriarty is firing live rounds, and Riker realizes the notes that Moriarty is playing. Riker begins to realize it's Pop Goes the Weasel from the first episode of TNG where he meets Data for the first time. Riker whistles the tune and Moriarty disappears. The three enter a room and suddenly before us is Data, an old gray-haired Data.
Marvelous.
Back at the Fleet Museum, Geordi says he wants to help, but he will be court-martialed and is worried about his family. LaForge thinks Picard put his daughter into danger, and Picard tries to explain the truth to him. There is a sweet scene between Jack and Seven where they look at the USS Voyager, and Seven talks about her time on the ship as we get to hear a bit of the show's theme song.
Oh, she's a beauty.
It is a beautiful moment for Voyager fans. Then Jack asks about the HMS Bounty, and he recalls its cloaking device.
Because the cloaking device had reactivated.
Back on Daystrom Station, Riker comes to the realization that this android looks like Data, but can't be him because Data was killed during the events of Star Trek Nemesis. He also says he wasn't trying to hurt them with Moriarty, but instead trying to reach out to them. He recognized them, but he is not Data. We also see B4's head, whom Data copied himself into. Apparently, once Alton Soong passed away, Daystrom took an interest in his work. A video of Soong explains what he was trying to accomplish. Back at Fleet Museum, Geordi tells Picard about his difficulties with Sydney and parenthood in general. They talk about not having control of what you pass on to your children, nor having control of what your kids become. It's something all parents struggle with as their children become adults. Back to Soong, he explains this age Data-looking droid is actually a combination of Lal, B4, lore, and a great deal of Data. But this time with the wisdom and true aesthetic of age. Lal was of course Data's daughter in the TNG episode The Offspring. Following her death, Data transferred her memories and experiences into his own brain so she would live on. We also learned Soong died before he could complete the project, and the integration effort failed, and all of the personalities remain at odds inside this new android. Back with Geordi, he is telling Picard he can't help him and protect his daughters. Picard prepares to leave, but Geordi wants to talk to his daughter before they go. Wanting to protect Sydney, he tells her she is going to stay with him, but Sydney wants to go with her crew. Geordi thought because his daughter didn't want to follow in his footsteps that she was rejecting him, but she thought it was actually bringing them closer together. She tells him,
You would believe in this if you believed in me.
Not your family.
Yes, they are! And you taught me that.
She challenges her father and he looks shook. Over with Picard and Seven, they are considering taking the fleet ships head on themselves. Sydney decides she is staying with the Titan. Jack seems to be flirting with Sydney.
Let's reset our phasers.
And then asks the sisters if they would like to partake in some
minor larceny.
Back on Daystrom Station, we learn that this Data-like android is the manifest they've been looking for. Just as they begin to search for what was stolen, they are found out and need to get off the station immediately. Back on Fleet Museum, Captain Shaw is fumbling all over himself talking to Commodore LaForge. It's apparent that as a former engineer, he looks up to Geordi, and the irony is not lost on Picard. As the Titan starts to disappear, Geordi wants to know what Jean-Luc is doing. But it's not him. There is a great moment when both men realize their offspring are responsible for what's happening. They have stolen the cloaking device from the HMS Bounty and attached it to the Titan. What they don't know is that stealing that cloaking device tripped an alarm and Starfleet is on its way. Geordi finally agrees to help, but tells Jack,
"Stay away from my daughter."
Awesome dad line no matter what century you're in. Back on Daystrom, they've decided to take Data with them. He has all the answers they need to solve the mystery. Riker starts a firefight with Starfleet security while the others get away. He is captured, but Worf, Data, and Raffi get off the station.
I will bring William Riker home.
The look on Geordi's face when he says Data's name is enough to make any TNG fan emotional. Jack takes a moment to tell Picard all of the things that he gets from his mother and also what he gets from his father. He is finally starting to connect with his dad. Geordi and Sydney also make up as he realizes her differences are a good thing. Now with Data, Geordi explains that there are personality partitions and he will need to remove them to wake it up, and he has no idea who they are going to get. When Data first wakes up, it does seem like our old Data as he recognizes Geordi and Picard.
Geordi?
It's not quite Data. He is more human now than he was before. Picard wants to know what the changeling stole, and as Data tries to sort it out, lore comes forth. Then before, and soon, Data is finally able to show them what was stolen. We learn the changeling stole the human remains of Jean-Luc Picard. Back on Daystrom, Riker is being beat up by the changelings. They want the location of Picard and Jack. The changeling questioning him suddenly turns and kills the two changelings behind him, and then it morphs into Vadic. Now on the Shrike, she takes Riker with her to find the Titan. Riker says he will not give up his friends, and then Vadic shows him who she has. It's his wife, our favorite TNG counselor, Deanna Troi. This episode finally brings all the TNG team together in some shape or form on the screen.
Oh, Will.
Finally seeing what Geordi has been up to all these years, and that he has prioritized his family, is a change to the character and one that fits him well. How Terry and his team were able to bring back all of these legacy ships is completely mind-boggling and incredibly awesome. It's history wrapped up in awe and sprinkled with nostalgia for all fans. But it's not simply fan service. Getting the cloak device seemed to be playing an important role moving forward. And what can we say about Data? It's incredible seeing him on the screen again, and suddenly the show feels more complete. And with Riker and Deanna in trouble and the Titan team still fumbling for a plan to stop the changelings, we still have many questions left unanswered. Why did the changelings steal Jean-Luc's body? What is the final form of Data we've just seen? And most importantly, what is going to happen on Frontier Day? All will be revealed as the showrunner and his team leave no stone unturned and every plot point earned. Did seeing Geordi and Data there together warm your Star Trek heart? If so, give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing, as we'll be doing this every week. And stay tuned because in a moment, we are going to share with you thoughts on Episode 6 directly from the mouth of showrunner Terry Matalas himself. But first, what do you think? Has Picard Season 3 been the adventure you were hoping you'd be going on with our TNG crew? Tell us what you think and let's talk about it in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video and want to hear more discussions about this topic and others just like it, please join us over at our other channel, the Popcast Unleashed, where we'll be conducting interviews with your favorite Star Trek personalities. Also, please consider supporting the channel and get your own Data-inspired graphic design from the amazing artists at mixtees.com. Get 20% off your purchase by using coupon code THEPOPCAST. The link is in the description below. And now, Star Trek Picard Season 3 showrunner, Terry Matalas.
It actually came from they were on the run and they needed to hide. The organic trace of that was, they're like, well, it's in a weird way, they need a cloaking device. And we knew they were going to go to Geordi for help. And then the next question was like, well, maybe Geordi has a cloaking device. And then the next thing said, well, what if they had the bounty?
And fearful be the god or man or beast that stands in my way.